Hare Krishna. I first learned about the Hare Krishna movement when I was 12 years old. I was visiting my sister and her family in New York on the Lower East Side, which I did regularly. And I walked into a store called the Krishna Store. It was run by a man named Alan Coleman, who had made a recording of Srila Prabhupada chanting Hare Krishna, and he would play that recording of Prabhupada chanting. He sold posters of Krishna, not made by Iskandar, devotees made in India, and various Indian clothes and things of that nature, and that was my first contact with the movement. Initiation is a vow on the part of the disciple and the guru, a contract that one will serve the guru who will then help one in spiritual life. Srila Prabhupada compares taking initiation to formally enrolling in a university. So anybody can go to a university and audit the classes, sit on the classes, get some knowledge, get some information. But once you enroll in the university, once you're a regular student in the university, then all of the professors are there to help you, even those who aren't your professors. You have full access to the library, you have full access to all the facility of the university. And basically, the dean of the university is guaranteeing that as long as you follow their program, you will get your diploma. So initiation is very much like that. You say, okay, I'm going to follow these rules, I'm going to follow this process. And then not only does your own guru help you, but all of the other gurus and learned saints in the line are also available to help you. And the dean of the college, which is God himself, guarantees you that if you follow that process, you will indeed attain spiritual perfection. The main service that I've done in the Hare Krishna movement is as a teacher of children. For 27 years, I was teaching in a primary and secondary school in the movement. And 18 of those years, I was also the head teacher or the principal of the school. In addition, I've written curriculum materials for children, especially Dr. Bessel Druid, an 83-book set to teach English literacy. There's a lot of other services that I've also done over the years. I've been editor of our international Back to Godhead magazine since 1990. Since 2002, I've been a member of the Shastri Advisory Council to the GBC. At this particular moment, I'm the interim chair of that council. I have been a member of the GBC Devotee Care Committee, although I'm not active there anymore. I've also distributed Srila Prabhupada's books, been active in theater. I've been the main temple cook, cook for all the devotees in the community, all of the meals. I've answered letters of people who've written to our publishing house asking for more information. I've written another book on chanting Hare Krishna, which is available on Amazon. In addition to being an editor for Back to Godhead, I've also written many articles for the magazine. At the present moment, in addition to writing and publishing books, I also travel and teach. Mostly at this point, I'm teaching adults, although sometimes I also engage in teaching teachers of children. I run a program to teach English literacy in Vrindavan, India, to school children. I have someone there on the ground who actively manages the program, but I'm overseeing it. And also I work with my daughter and her husband in a program in Vrindavan to clean the areas around Govardhan Hill, Radhakund, Shamakund. We also restore a number of the ancient temples and holy sites there. We're feeding widows and taking care of widows, and we're hoping to expand our activity there. We have a site, www.radharam.com, if you want to look at our activities with that. Down that site, there's also links to a number of my publications, both ones that are for sale, and also there's a lot there for free download, all different kinds of publications for teaching children in Krishna consciousness. Krishna is not a philosophical idea or a construct, but he's really a person. He has feelings, he has things that he likes, things that he doesn't like, he has his activities. And Bhakti Yoga is really about us as individuals having a personal relationship with Krishna as an individual. And that relationship with Krishna as an individual is one of voluntary giving of oneself. Anything that has to do with force or power is genuine evil. And anything that has to do with voluntary giving of love and a personal reciprocal relationship is what's real. And I think that's the most important thing that I've realized. I mean, of course, as we progress in Krishna consciousness, there's thousands and thousands of things that we realize. I mean, every day when chanting, every day when reading Prabhupada's books, every day when interacting with devotees, many times a day, I experience very deep and profound and wonderful realizations about the nature of reality. You know, it would be difficult to, you have to write a book, you know, this big, or be talking for thousands of years to talk about all of that. But it's one of the wonderful things about Krishna consciousness is that the nature of reality is constantly unfolding to one, and it's a beautiful and deep and amazing experience. Or what kind of advice I would give to people starting on the spiritual path? Well, several things. Don't be afraid of being humble. Don't be afraid of getting rid of the darkness in the heart and confronting the darkness in the heart. Be a deep devotee. Don't do things superficially. Don't do things fanatically or in pride or self-righteousness. And don't be afraid to really get a personal relationship with Krishna and to really develop an attachment to Krishna. Don't think that that's something just for the high devotees and that it's something that you can touch yourself. And that would be the most important thing. I think it's impossible for me to say, okay, this is my one favorite. I like the form of Krishna himself, more so than any of his incarnations, but among his incarnations, I like all of them. I really like the pastime with Urmila and the churning of the ocean of milk. And I always like the pastime of Varaha saving the earth from the bottom of the ocean. But particularly I like Krishna. Krishna's original form, Krishna in Vrindavan, Krishna with all of his intimate associates. And I like all of Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. I especially like Krishna dancing on the heads of the Kaliya serpent. That's one of my favorite pastimes. But everything is sweet. It said that everything about Krishna is sweet. Everything is sweet about the Emperor's sweetness. There was no pretense, there was no deceit, there was no game playing. Prabhupada was fully who he was. He was dealing with you also really heart to heart. And in that sense, Srila Prabhupada, like all saintly persons, was very childlike, very innocent. And he was a sophisticated person in the world. He had run a business. He knew how to deal with worldly things. Srila Prabhupada certainly wasn't a naive person. But at the same time, he had a simple youthfulness about him in terms of just being very open and very on the table, and very much that what you saw was what you got. He was a living representative of truth, and that was, I think, for me, the most obvious thing about Srila Prabhupada. I'm attracted to Krishna, I'm attracted to wanting to be with Krishna, I'm attracted to the concept of going to the spiritual world. Philosophically, the whole description of reality, material and spiritual world, the nature of the modes of material nature, the nature of reality, makes a lot of sense. It's a very coherent philosophy. There's no gaps, there's nothing unexplained or unexplainable. And from a negative position, there's nothing else that I want to do. I don't want to be a materialistic person. I see materialism as empty, unfulfilling, and basically meaningless. I see materialistic endeavors as something like building sandcastles on the shore of the ocean when the tide is coming in, and I don't see any point in it. As far as which spiritual path to take, I've certainly investigated and studied, and I even tried to some extent various spiritual paths, and I simply haven't found any that have the complete understanding that we find in Krishna consciousness. That's not to say that other spiritual paths are wrong or bad, but if they have that knowledge, it's not genuinely available. You know, in the Bible there are descriptions of the form of God, but most people who follow the Bible don't really understand what those descriptions are about or really access them. And I've practice Krishna consciousness within the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, rather than in some other society or by myself. And not by myself, because I think becoming spiritually enlightened by oneself is extremely difficult. Without the association and the help and the friendship of other spiritual practitioners, it's a hard road. And I think that's especially true in the modern age when gross materialism is just surrounding you on every side. As far as why particularly the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, well, this is where I first found out about Krishna Consciousness. This is a society by my guru, Srila Prabhupada. This is where I personally feel most at home. It's a very big society, and as a very big society, it has facility for a large variety of services and a large variety of people. And I also find within the society many, many people who are spiritually serious and for very good association. That's not to say that there aren't other societies for Krishna consciousness that are also helping their followers to become Krishna conscious. But for me, this is my home, and I'm very satisfied with my home. It's also not to say that there's no problems. After all, it's a society of spiritual seekers. It's not a society of spiritually perfect people, although there are spiritually perfect people within the society. There's a mix of people who are both spiritually perfect and people who are spiritually striving. So naturally we have to expect that there's going to be some difficulty. But still within the society I have found that I can get that friendship and that association and that help and that facility that really help me in my spiritual life. And because it is the movement started by my guru, it's certainly, for me at least, the best facility to serve him in his mission. Hare Krishna.